What's your most memorable interaction with a stranger? I used to work at a small convenience store, and I was restocking shelves behind the counter when a scruffy-looking 4-year-old boy walked in. His clothes were dirty, worn out at the knees and elbows. He had messy brown hair and was clutching a crumpled $10 bill so tight I could see his knuckles turning white. He marched right up to the counter like he knew exactly what he was doing. He stood on his tiptoes, slapped the money down, and said in this tiny, serious voice, "I need cigarettes for my mommy, please. The red ones." At first, I honestly thought it was a joke, or that maybe his parents were outside, but when I leaned over the counter and really looked at him, my stomach dropped. He had that look you see sometimes in little kids who have had to grow up way too fast. His face was serious. His shoulders were stiff. He was doing a job, not playing. I knelt down to his level and asked gently, "Where's your mom, sweetheart?" He blinked at me like he didn't understand why I was even asking. "She's sick in bed. She can't stop coughing. She said these help her feel better." The way he said it, so matter of fact, made my heart hurt. His hands were scrubbed clean, but his fingernails were full of grime, like he had been trying to do chores or take care of things himself. Before I could figure out what to do, Mr. Gaines, the old guy who ran the stockroom, came out. He saw the kid, figured something was wrong right away, and handed him a juice box from the fridge while pretending it was a special treat just for him. Meanwhile, I pulled out my phone behind the counter and called for help. While we waited, I kept talking to the boy. His name was Ethan. He told me he and his mom lived just down there, and pointed vaguely out the window. They didn't have a phone, they didn't have a car. He said mommy had been sick for a long time, but doctors cost too much money. He said the $10 came from a jar in the kitchen labeled emergency. And when I asked him why cigarettes, he said, they help her stop coughing so she can cook me dinner. His little voice cracked just a tiny bit on the word dinner, and I had to look away for a second so he wouldn't see the tears in my eyes. At that point, I decided I wasn't waiting for anyone else to figure this out. I told Mr. Gaines to watch the store, and I took Ethan's hand. It was so small and warm, and he didn't hesitate even a little bit, like he had already decided I was a safe grown-up. We walked down the street together. It was only a few blocks, but it felt like miles. When we got to his building, Ethan led me up to a tiny third-floor apartment. He pushed open the door and called out, "Mommy, I got your cigarettes." But there was no answer. I followed him in, and the smell hit me first. That heavy, sour, sweet smell of sickness and stale air. His mom was lying on a ratty couch, her face flushed bright red with fever. She tried to sit up when she saw me, panic flashing across her face, but she could barely lift her head. Between coughing fits, she gasped out, "Please don't take him, please." I just needed a break from the coughing, just long enough to make him dinner. She was maybe in her late 20s, but she looked 10 years older, thin and exhausted and terrified. She clutched at her chest and kept coughing so hard it sounded like it was tearing her lungs up. Ethan ran straight to her and grabbed her hand, squeezing it with all his strength. I stood there frozen for a second because I realized what I was seeing wasn't some neglectful monster. It was a woman who had completely run out of options. I called for an ambulance even though she begged me not to. She kept talking about the bills and how they couldn't afford it. I told her it didn't matter, and that she needed help right now, or else her son will be left without her. While we waited, Ethan knelt beside her, holding her hand and watching her with this serious little face. When the paramedics finally arrived and started getting her onto a stretcher, Ethan looked up at me with these big, hopeful eyes and said, "Will the cigarettes make mommy better now?" I swear my heart broke clean in half right there. I knelt down next to him and shook my head. I didn't trust myself to say anything else. That was 3 years ago. I still think about him all the time.